Hi, my name is Clinton Hawkins. I'm 24 years old. Now, I've seen a lot of these different posts floating around the internet and everything, and I decided, it's maybe about time to share my story. I was born October 25th, 1990, about 5 p.m. Dad always made the joke, and I'll explain something a little bit later on that. But he always made the joke that I I was late for breakfast, late for dinner or lunch, but I was not going to be late for dinner. um, but that's pretty much when I was born. About 2 years later, November 9th, my middle brother, Devin, was born. And he, he passed away his because of his father at the age of 11 months. And then my youngest brother, Cordell, was born 2 years after that. Now, I never knew my actual biological father. I know my biological mother. And I don't really want to know him. But a part of me yet does, just to know that I know him. But, you know, it is what it is. Um, when I was 4, my birth mom moved, or we moved to Nebraska when I was 4 in the summer of '94, and it was it was a different adjustment. I hadn't even started kindergarten yet, and everything. So, but we moved to a small town of Woodlake, Nebraska, and it was like 76 people total. Most we had there was a school, a post office, and a small cafe when I moved in there. Um, no, I've never, and when I started school, I never really fit in anywhere. Didn't have, didn't have any real friends there. Didn't have any real friends at all through school. But school, I went to public school till about 5th grade, and I was picked on by all the kids and the teachers. Now, some of the teachers were really, really mean, and everything. But at the age of 2, I was diagnosed with ADHD, and so I wasn't really able to control a lot of my hyperactivity. One thing I remember was one of the teachers would not let me go to the bathroom at all. And I'm like, no, probably about 8 years old. And I ended up urinating in my pants. No, all the teachers just kind of made me feel stupid. Like I was nothing. One of them, all the classes that I had were taught by the same teacher. One of them, they ran me to the point of near exhaustion. I about passed out, and they kept pushing me further and further and telling me to run, keep running, go, go. I don't care if you're tired. And I'm like, I'm about to pass out, and they're like, I don't care, keep running. Now, because the loss of my brother, I don't really like Christmas or anything because it happened around that time. And it's either his birth or his death that I just have issues with around it this time of the year. And I've always had issues. At the age of 9, I got diagnosed with bipolar in a youth psych ward around Christmas. It was 4 days before Christmas, and I got to come home Christmas Eve. And I was having anger outbursts. I was lashing out at my parents, never lashed out at anybody else. I I was very physically aggressive and angry and fought a lot. Not with any of the kids at school or anybody outside of the house. It was just always with my parents. But speaking of my parents, at the age of 7, I was adopted by my grandparents because of the whole thing with my middle brother Devin. I had my mom had lost custody of me, so from then on, I kept, you know, grandparents were my parents. They always have been. They always will be. So when I refer to my mom and dad, I'm gonna constantly be referring to them. Um, at the age of 16, I had a massive outburst and physically assaulted my grandma. And the cops were called. I ended up going to the same psych ward that I did when I was 9. Then after that, I went to a psych ward in Lincoln. And then from there, I went to a psych ward in Epworth. It was long term. I spent 6 months there. Then I went to when I got back, I went to Valentine High School. I spent 2 years there. Ended up dropping out. And on the Christmas break of 2011. At this point, I had already moved in with somebody who used to be a friend to me. I wouldn't even consider him a friend if I knew now, not just with him, just now in general, that I knew then. If I would have known now what I knew then, I wouldn't have considered him a friend. He was, him and his mom were physically, mentally, and emotionally abusive towards me. I spent almost an entire year there. turned 18 there. I ended up leaving there. Spent 2 months in somebody's camper. She was an ex coworker of mine. She lived with her family, and that's her. That was their camper that I stayed in there for 2 months. During that time, that's when I was 17. I started smoking marijuana. It kind of helped me deal with some of my problems, some of my past issues. I also got diagnosed with schizophrenia when I was 15. And I had a lot of issues and never could hold down a job for very long. I fought tooth and nail to just survive. I was homeless after when I turned 18 in that October. I went from O'Neill, Nebraska to Denver, Colorado, and 2 weeks there, I had a roof over my head. And the quote unquote friend that I paid for everything to get down there that got with an ex of mine and got me kicked out of there. I spent 2 weeks homeless in Denver, Colorado. After that, I went to Norfolk. My parents picked me up, took me to Norfolk, and put me in the mission home out there. At this point, I was 19. And during my time in Colorado, I spent about a week in the psych ward, adult psych ward there for depression. I about committed suicide. I committed suicide, tried to commit suicide 3 times in my life. After the third time, it just there was no point to it anymore. I just knew I couldn't succeed. And if I say how it happened, it's gonna sound crazier than what really is. I went through a lot that time. I ended up getting with this girl that I knew and moving down to Utah. She kicked me out 3 times. Nowhere to go. I had no family there. I had nothing there. Kicked me out 3 times. And both of them, all 3 times, was about 2 months. And I went to Job Corps. I was going to Job Corps. I was waiting to get in during this 6 months. And right before I got there, she picks me up and we screw, whatever you want to call it. And then she takes me to Job Corps and says, I never wanted to see you again. And at that point, I got with another girl while I was in Job Corps. That relationship lasted 5 years. Went through Job Corps together. I pushed her to graduate. She'd given up. She graduated full complete. I graduated full complete. I went back to Nebraska and she went back to Idaho. We stayed in contact. She moved up a month later after we graduated. I ended up losing my job where we were staying and we got kicked out. We were homeless again. We ended up then hitching a couple rides up to Lincoln, Nebraska, where we spent 6 months there. I got a couple jobs, and we spent a good solid 2 months underneath of a bridge by a soup kitchen, and in a and then after I got the job, we were in a basement of somebody's house on a love seat recliner. I'd walk 7.5 miles to work an 8 hour shift, walk 7.5 miles back. And then I lost my job there. We got everybody that was living there kind of had to move out because it was only temporary for everybody there. We were trying to find a place. We ended up unknowingly squatting because of one of the people I was with, her friend was squatting in this place, and he let us stay there and everything and all that. And we ended up getting kicked out of there a week later. We ended up going to Burley, Idaho, where I spent 3 years, never being able to hold down a job. And now, part of it was my fault, part of it was somebody else's. You know, and when I could find a job, I ended up losing it and everything. During this 3 years there, I had a daughter, Viola Jaden Hawkins. She was born November 9th, 2012. And she's 2 years old now. I try to, my way of coping with it right now is kind of not thinking about it. Kind of think about her as little as possible. Move on, move forward with my life. Because I no longer have custody of her. Not, I was trying to do the right thing, and I signed over temporary guardianship to her grandmother, and she took advantage of that, and because we were going to be moving up to some place out of state, and I wasn't sure if it was going to be stable or not, so I wanted to make sure my daughter had someplace stable. Well, I did that, and she just took everything from me. We ended up going to court. She got full on custody, and now she doesn't even live with her anymore. She lives with her aunt, who doesn't have any guardianship, parental rights, nothing. I don't even get to see her. I haven't seen her more than 5 times after that. And then about actually this year, March of this year, I had a son. He ended up passing away September 26th, the same year, this year. I spent, I ran. I ran to the hospital with him in my arms, thinking, God, let my son be dead. Don't let my son be dead. They tried to bring him back for 4 hours. Or not 4 hours, about 3 hours. The time of death was 1 a.m. I moved back home. And the mom, the kids moved back home too. Or back here too. She considers this place more a home than with her mother. She got a job. She's being very successful now. I'm really proud of her, even though we're not together anymore. Very proud of her. She's doing an amazing job rebuilding herself. And I've now landed a job that I can continue on. But mostly the point to this video is the fact that no matter what you go through in life, what labels people put on you, you can stay strong. You're stronger than what you think you are. You would have told me 6 years, all this stuff would have happened, and I would be able to live through it without taking any medications with bipolar, ADHD, and schizophrenia. I would have looked at you and thought you were crazy. You know, it is what it is. You can do anything you put your mind to. Now, I'm a juggalo. I'm a brony. I'm dice. I'm a pothead. I'm pro legalization. I'm pro gay marriage. Well, my one goal in life is to have everybody I know to be at least happy for one day. I want everybody that I know to be happy for one day. And I know everybody I know is wanting me to smile more. They're like, you need to smile, you need to smile. It's like I've lost my children. I'm losing my dad, the idol of my life. He's my role model. He's everything I want to be. I'm losing him too. I don't have much to smile for. I try to be happy, and there's a certain person that, makes me smile every time I'm around her. That I can't, you know, I know everybody's going to be like, well, you should get with her. Get with her. No, I can't. She's taken. I'm not going to split her up either. I'm going to respect it. She's taken. She's happy. You know, that's fine. Even though, it kind of sacrifices my own happiness, I'd rather her be happy. She's a great friend, and I never want to take advantage of this friendship. And I hope she never takes advantage of me. And then I have another friend that, we're really close, and she's really cool. Really like her. I have a few acquaintances at work. It's just a whole bunch of stuff. You never. Suicide ain't worth it. Take it from somebody that's tried and has all this stuff that society frowns upon. And I just keep going. I move to my own tune. Because I know, I don't know how, I don't know why, I know someday it will all be better. So if you take something from this video and I hope that, you take the inspiration that you can do something. The whole point of this video is to show that I've gone through shit in my life, but I'm not bitching about it. I'm letting you know you're not alone. Never take the world for granted, because the next day you may not have it. Nothing in this world is forever. Cherish every breath you take and every moment you have. Because nothing is going to last forever. And I hope that, if do you have something bad to say, go ahead and say it. It just shows me how far I've come in my life. It's not going to bother me. You want to frown upon me for what I've had to do in my life? I've had to steal food to survive. Because I don't have the money to go and get food. And I didn't have anywhere to go to get food for free. I had to steal it. So, take this video for what you want it to be. But I want you to know no one will ever, frown upon for you for just surviving. Everybody has somebody that will miss them if they disappear. Somebody out there does love you. Somebody out there does care about you. Don't stop. Because the moment you stop, you prove how weak you are. And you're stronger than that. Everybody is. So, take from what you will. Thank you for if you made it through this entire video. I know it's kind of longer than I wanted it to be, but it is what it is. Thank you.